And if she's not first up, I don't know if one of you wants to start and introduce.
Okay, yeah, we do have limited time, so I think we should just go ahead. So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to double click on the shared screen if you want to maximize it in your browser. We will be having an opportunity to answer questions at the end of the panel, so it would be great if you could write them in the chat as we go or think of them and save them until the end. This session is focused on how members of the National Girls Collaborative Projects, or the NGCP's, Youth Advisory Board comes together from across the USA to encourage girls in STEM. My name is Amanda, and I am a co-chair of the National Girls Collaborative Projects, or the NGCP's, Youth Advisory Board. I'm a junior in high school in Maryland. My STEM interests lie in biophysics and vaccine development, particularly related to infectious disease. Outside of STEM, I am a competitive hip hop dancer. My future hope is that in the future, I am able to discover new therapeutic options for patients which can translate into a clinical cure. Today, I'm joined by Youth Advisory Board members Lindsey and Nicole, and it would be great if you would introduce yourselves.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead. Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm a junior in high school in Texas. My STEM interests are in computer science and technology. For instance, I really enjoy competitive programming and also machine learning research. Outside of STEM, I really enjoy tennis, painting, and bullet journaling. And my future hope is that I'm able to combine my career interests in technology and entrepreneurship, as well as continue encouraging youth to pursue STEM.
Awesome. And if Lindsey gets to join in, she's also a junior in high school. She lives in Wisconsin and she's interested in physics and nanotechnology. So thank you all for being here. I'm now going to share a little bit about the NGCP and the role of the Youth Advisory Board. And then we're going to discuss how the NGCP's Youth Advisory Board fosters girls' confidence and belonging in STEM. The vision of the National Girls Collaborative Project is to bring together organizations committed to informing and encouraging girls to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and computer science. The Youth Advisory Board is a group of young women and girls from across the country, from a variety of backgrounds and STEM interests. They provide important feedback for the NGCP initiatives and are offered various unique resources to help them in their STEM pursuits. I will now pass it to Nicole to give a brief background of the Youth Advisory Board.
So basically, the mission of the the Youth Advisory Board on the NGCP. So basically, we consist of 20 high schoolers from across the nation, and we have a lot of diverse backgrounds and STEM interests. And what we do is we basically provide feedback on NGCP initiatives and also inform the organization's future direction. And we also provide board members with a lot of unique, we're also provided a lot of unique opportunities to encourage our own leadership and growth in STEM. So for instance, we hold a lot of virtual events, we have blog posts, we also have leadership positions as well as social hours. And we'll be discussing each of these opportunities more in depth later on in the presentation. So there's a few guidelines for members that are interested in joining the Youth Advisory Board. And so the first one is to just apply through the NGCP website, and there's a form that you just fill out, and there's a few questions on there. Next, you'll talk to Kelly, and then after that, you'll submit a short bio for the NGCP website. Of course, we have to attend the monthly meetings for the NGCP, for the Youth Advisory Board, and that's where all the events are announced. And we have to join the Youth Advisory Board Discord server, which is where we maintain communications, and we participate in at least one special project per year. So those are just requirements for us to retain our membership in the board.
Perfect. And if you want to learn more beyond what we said, we attached the link in the chat, so feel free to explore.
So now I can give a brief overview of what happens during every meeting. So every meeting will last around an hour or so. And first we start with like a check-in question. And it's basically just to one, check attendance, and also just make sure that, like just for everyone to like reconnect with each other. Next, we'll hear from members who attended any special events from the past month, for example, like panels like this, or if there's any projects that they worked on. And then we get into the bulk of the meeting, which is where we discuss any NGCP initiatives which are ongoing, and then the members will give feedback. So, for instance, this year is NGCP's 20th anniversary, so we've been doing a lot of events and initiatives related to that. And then after that, we'll announce any new events that are upcoming, and just like we'll give feedback on those as well. And finally, we conclude every meeting with some highlights from each member's lives.
Yep. And part of the 20th anniversary, we've been doing a social media campaign, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, where we've been able to talk about our experiences in STEM, some of our goals, and have that showcased on social media, which is a cool opportunity as well. So I can talk about the town halls, and this is another really cool virtual event that the National Girls Collaborative Project puts on, and it's in partnership with Career Girls, and we invite women role models in STEM to join these town halls. And again, you can look in the chat to find the link. There are so many really cool, really amazing women who have done a lot in their fields, and it's really cool that members of the Youth Advisory Board are actually able to interview them and ask questions to these role models and get a discussion going. And girls across the world are invited to attend, so anyone is really able to join the town hall and learn from it, and the Youth Advisory Board members are the ones who are able to interview, and we have some calls beforehand to decide what we want to ask, and it's a really, really cool thing. So feel free to check the link in the chat for more information.
Okay, I guess I can talk about this. So another thing that we have going on, especially for the last few meetings, is we've been having like a woman role model at our Youth Advisory Board meetings. So and these women are pursuing various STEM careers, as well as like the careers at the intersection of STEM and other fields as well. So pictured here is Shay, who's a member of the NGCP board, and she also sponsors our Youth Advisory Board, which is really cool. And she also works for the Intrepid Museum. Yes. So some other examples of people who've visited our meetings include Sam Moreno, who creates exhibits for the San Diego Museum of Natural History, and Karina Popovich, who's the founder of Makers for COVID-19. And basically, what these role models do is they just give us a short talk about what they do, how they got into their STEM careers, advice for us, stuff like that. And they also answer all the questions that we have for them. And so it's just really inspiring for us to hear about like other women who've pursued the same, who've kind of gone on the same path as us, and how they've encountered and overcome all these obstacles. So I think that's how they help to instill hope in us as future STEM scientists, mathematicians, stuff like that.
Yeah, and touching on the town halls, how those give us hope as well. I feel like it's a very similar thing. Being able to see these role models and see how there are so many different paths, so many different intersections of science and other fields, whether it be business or humanities or education, just learning about all those different intersections and all the different ways to pursue a career in STEM, I think really instills hope in us that there's not one set path that we might not enjoy. There's so many different ways to sort of forge our own career path that we'll really enjoy and will have a positive impact on others. So definitely instills a lot of hope, which is in line with the Intrepid Museum's theme of hope. Another activity that the Youth Advisory Board members are able to take part in are STEM Without Boundaries panels. And this is an example of one of the panels, and a panel of the Youth Advisory Board is able to attend. And basically, a lot of elementary school students join these panels and ask questions to us. So it's almost like the town halls with the scientists and the people already launched into their careers talking to us. Now we're actually able to teach the elementary school students, which is something really, really cool. And for a little bit of background, STEM Without Boundaries is a nonprofit organization committed to inspiring students to pursue careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, a sort of similar mission to the National Girls Collaborative Project. So it was a really cool partnership. And I think with this, the hope is really a two-way street for both the attendees and the Youth Advisory Board members who are being asked the questions. For the attendees, it inspires hope in them as they have role models to learn from. They have us who can really teach them how they can make their STEM goals a reality. You know, if you like science in school, this is where you can go with it. These are what activities you can take part in, so many different opportunities that they are able to learn about. And then also instills hope in us, members of the Youth Advisory Board, as we're able to be a mentor and we're able to ask any questions that they have and really be a resource for them. It's something really meaningful for us. I'm pretty sure Nicole can agree that when you're able to like inspire the next generation and teach them, it's something really meaningful because you're able to have an impact on others positively. So the hope is really a two-way street in this case, and the STEM Without Boundaries activities are really awesome.
So another thing that we've been doing is these like blog posts that go onto the NGCP website. So basically what these blog posts consist of, well, how we do them is basically we'll give an interview to someone who's on the NGCP board. So both Amanda and I have participated in these interviews, and we just ask them questions about like their career, what kinds of advice they have, and after the interview, we'll write up a blog post, and then that will get published to the NGCP website. So the one pictured on this slide is the one with Ms. McGowan. She's the co-founder of the Washington State Mathematics Engineering Science Achievement Program, or the MESA program. And she's also like a retired science educator. So for me personally, when I was conducting the interview with her, it was just really inspiring to, oh my gosh, hello.
Yay!
So it was just really inspiring to talk to her and her journey, because she's been teaching science for a long time, and she really discussed with us like the progress that she's seen not only in the science field but also the role of like women in the science field. So I think it's just really inspiring to all the interviewers to see like science from the perspective of someone who's like been in the field for a longer period of time. And then it's also really cool that we get to publish these blog posts for anyone to read.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Nicole said. In my experience with the blog post, it's been really cool to, set up a Zoom call with them, interview them, and then also, like Nicole said, publish it for all to see so everyone has that really cool resource. It's also really cool because they send your blog post in the newsletter, and like so many people read that newsletter. So it's like, it's something a really cool avenue because I also am into STEM and I also like writing. So it's a really cool intersection there. And I was able to interview, the first one is Dr. Day Grady, and the second one is Dr. Gabriela Gonzalez. Dr. Grady, she works in machine learning lab. She does research. She is an If-Then ambassador, so she has a statue at the Smithsonian right now. She created different activities for minority students in STEM. It was so cool to learn about her story and all the different things that she does. And like Nicole mentioned, Karina Popovich, that's another story. I interviewed her as well, but through the blog post was Dr. Gabriela Gonzalez, and she's the deputy director at Intel Corporation. So she's doing a lot of really cool things with them. And she came from a background with many different obstacles in STEM. She came to the United States first generation. She didn't even know all the different college opportunities, and she came into engineering. It was sort of like an accident. So it's really cool to learn about her and how she was able to persist through all of these different boundaries. And I think learning about stories like that definitely instills hope that anything is possible, and you can really like take what you have and try and make something out of it. So I think that was really cool to learn from as well. So let's continue to the next activity. If Lindsey is there, it would be great.
Maybe she's still having tech issues. I'm not sure.
There was a brief and shining moment we could see her, but the mic is on, so you can talk. Yay!
Yay! Okay, let's hear it. Looks like we can't hear her.
Yeah, Lindsey, we can't hear you.
Just mute it.
It looks like your mic is on.
Is it like working?
Yes.
Okay. The thingy is on, like it looks like I'm muted, so
It's working. So if you want to explain the social media and this activity, that would be great.
so other activities that we do are social hours, which is just like really informal meetings, and the members of the board just kind of like talk. It's not necessarily like a structured meeting. We just kind of like get to know each other, talk about like our shared interests outside of STEM. We give feedback on other projects. So like the NGCP 20th anniversary. And organizations come to us to get feedback for projects too, so it's not just NGCP. And we also create videos and posts for NGCP. So 2 that are pictured on the slide here are for Mentor Month for the 20th anniversary for NGCP.
Yeah, and I think that it really gives us hope that we're able to make an impact when other organizations come to us as youth, and we're able to sort of speak on like different ideas that we have for their organizations. Like I forget, I think it was Smart Girls, and they came and they had like a bath bomb idea newsletter, and they were coming to us asking us like, what do you think would be like the coolest way to phrase this, or like how should we format this? Do you have any other ideas? And it was just something really cool because they have a large audience, and we were actually able to like talk to them and give them feedback, which is something really cool. Okay, so now we're all going to talk a little bit about how our experience overall on the Youth Advisory Board has given us hope for our future in STEM in general. And I think for all of us, it's in a lot of different ways, so I can start. I think, like we said, with the role models, through the town halls, through the blog posts, I think learning from other people's stories has given me a lot of different ideas. And I am a social entrepreneur myself, and there's been lots of different entrepreneurs who have come through and who are involved in both STEM and business and have really cool ways of how they were able to forge their own path, how they come up with ideas, how they get inspiration, how they gauge social media. They really taught us a lot of really cool things that have been really helpful in developing my nonprofits and other things. So that really gives me hope that, I have this support system. And also, more about the support system. With everyone else in the Youth Advisory Board, we're from all different parts of the country, very geographically diverse. We're also ethnically diverse. So having a bunch of other different perspectives and backgrounds and experiences is something that's also really important, and it reminds you that STEM is not a homogenous field. And we're trying to make sure that STEM gets more and more diverse as time goes on. So I think that's something really important, so that everyone feels welcome and everyone continues that hope in STEM. So Nicole, do you want to talk about how it's given you hope?
Sure, I will go ahead. So I definitely agree with Amanda. I think the diversity of perspectives, like geographic diversity, ethnic diversity, that's like one of the most valuable parts of the board, because it's just great to hear at every meeting like what everyone else is working on, and it's just like not one part of STEM. Like everyone has like super different interests, and when they talk about like what they're accomplishing and stuff, it's just super inspiring to hear. Additionally, I think like the youth advisory board and the resources that it offers has also inspired me to do more things in my own community. So like at my school, I helped to like run a Girls in STEM chapter, and just seeing all these speakers and stuff has inspired me to start contacting like other female mentors for our own events. And yeah, I think it's just like a really good like example of like an organization that does a lot to inspire like females and young kids to pursue STEM. So yeah, that's how it's given me hope for my own future in STEM. And I hand it off to Lindsey. I think she muted earlier.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I agree with both of you guys. And I think like one of the biggest thing that the Youth Advisory Board has done for me, like personally, is that the experience of like listening and talking to all of these like girls who have done so much, it made me really realize that I want to continue working like around this issue of women in STEM, because I was never like super into it as a when I was younger. Like I obviously was really passionate about like gender equality, but you know, this aspect of it I have been like really immersed in, and it's made me really realize that I want to continue doing this, you know, like in my future, like be really involved in this along with my own like STEM career. But it's also like helped me make connections with people, learn a lot more about STEM and how STEM merges with other parts of like other aspects of like other careers, almost like business or art, entrepreneurship, all that stuff. It's really opened my eyes to new ways that I can like work in STEM, but also like in other areas. So yeah.
Okay, I think that it's 1:30, so we're wrapping up.
Mm-hmm. So we thank you all so much for listening to how the Youth Advisory Board nurtures hope for girls pursuing STEM, and how this hope paves the way for girls to reach their STEM goals. Nicole?
Oh, I guess we will now take some questions from the chats if there are any.
Yeah, so we have about like 4 minutes left. So if anyone wants to ask any questions in the chat, we'll give a few seconds for that. And while we're waiting, we can maybe highlight a few frequently asked questions that we get. The first frequently asked question that we get is, how long can you be on the Youth Advisory Board? And turns out, as long as you're in high school, you can stay being on the Youth Advisory Board. So there's no certain amount like of months, of weeks that you can be on it. If you join in like the second month of 10th grade, you can stay up until you graduate high school. And then once you graduate high school, you become a Youth Advisory Board alumni, and you're listed on the website, and there's some separate programs for you. But don't worry about a certain time limit. You can be on it as long as you're in high school.
Okay. Does the session end at like 35? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think we have time to?
Yeah, I think we should do the last question.
Okay, sure. So another question that we get a lot is, what are some STEM goals in your near future? So Amanda, if you want to start.
Sure. So let's see, some STEM goals in my near future. I think I definitely want to continue engaging, like Lindsey said, sort of continuing like my academic studies in STEM, but also working like to lessen the gender gap in STEM, get more diverse perspectives in STEM. So like sort of combining that with like social good. And then I also had told Nicole and Lindsey this, that I want to just continue to stay curious in STEM and like make sure that I'm still reading and educating myself in those fields that I'm really interested and curious in, talking to people, getting book recommendations, maybe contacting professors, just like staying interested and always learning more. Those are my goals. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, so I think I have pretty similar goals. One thing that I have in my school is like a computer science team, and what we do is we go around and like compete at programming competitions. So I guess excelling in those competitions and just like having fun with my teammates is something I plan to do next year, which is my last year of high school. And obviously another thing that I plan to do in the future is to keep expanding my school's like girls in STEM clubs and initiatives. So yeah, those are some of my goals for the near future. And Lindsey?
Yeah, similar to you, Nicole, I also have a girls in STEM club at my school, and being on the leadership team next year, I really hope to have more resources, more events for our club, and kind of get the members more involved. So, yes, and I also want to stay curious, as Amanda said, and make sure that, especially during the summer, not having school, I want to make sure I'm still being involved in STEM related stuff.
Definitely. So it looks like we're out of time, and I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for attending and for listening to our presentation. And we want to highlight that if you're interested in the Youth Advisory Board, we are having applications open up in the fall, and you can find it on the National Girls Collaborative website, which I will post in the chat. So make sure to apply. Hopefully this presentation has convinced you that there's so many great opportunities. So apply, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Do we just go?